Yeah, that's right. talkSPORT's chief football correspondent, Alex Crook, as well as Crookie. Morning.
Good morning, Alex.
Good morning. Always good to see you both.
Alex, what's happening?
I'll say the
same. Let's kick off. Let's get the latest on Newcastle. Incredible, almost a brilliant comeback, wasn't it, against Liverpool? But how's the striker problem they have going to resolve itself?
Well, I think this is the saga that's going to keep us in thrall right up until the deadline on Monday night. I'll be on air 7 till 10 with Mr. Deadline Day himself, Jim White, just as the window closes at 7, reacting to all the big movers and shakers. And I'm pretty sure Newcastle and Alexander Isak in particular will be top of the agenda. We know they've made a second bid now for Jørgen Strand-Larsen at Wolves, £55 million rejected. But it's unusual for a Premier League club to make multiple bids for a player without some encouragement that he's open to the move. So I'm expecting Newcastle to go in again. Wolves' stance is that Strand-Larsen is not for sale this summer. But I thought it was interesting to hear Vitor Pereira last night, their manager, saying every player has his price. I do fear for Wolves if they lose Strand-Larsen.
Alex, if Newcastle get him, does that mean that Isak will get his wish and head to Anfield?
Well, this is being billed as a Callum Wilson replacement. Obviously, he left Newcastle on a free transfer at the end of last season. They're also saying the same about Jan Wisser, who they're still trying to prize away from Brentford. I was with Keith Andrews at their game at Bournemouth last night, and he was speaking in a similar tone to Pereira, really saying that I want him to stay. He scored 19 goals for us last season, but I've not got my head in the clouds. So again, I think he knows that every player has a price. And if they do manage to get the two strikers over the line, then yes, I think that would open the door for Liverpool to revive their interest in Isak. I certainly don't think we've heard the last of that.
Crooker, there's going to be a lot of outs, isn't there, at Manchester United? Højlund, Anthony, Sancho, maybe Mainu as well. But the Sancho one, is that a worry for you as a Manchester United fan? Because it doesn't seem like he wants to join the Turkish side that come in for
anyone.
him. Yeah, anyone.
Anyone. You know, he could have gone to Chelsea after his loan period, didn't want to take the relevant wage cut. There was interest from Roma. Again, he turned his nose up at that move. And as you say, Fenerbahce, Jose Mourinho, the latest club to show an interest in him, Besiktas as well. But he doesn't seem keen on that move. I think it's a frustration for Manchester United that Sancho isn't showing much willingness to move on. But I guess his camp will say, look, he's on a lucrative contract. He's only got a year left. Why shouldn't he milk it? So I don't think it's a guarantee that Sancho leaves the club. I do think it's a guarantee that even if he stays, he won't be reintegrated.
He might love Manchester like Casemiro does, Crookie.
Yeah, I'm sure his wages are not a coincidence either. But I mean, it's an issue, isn't it? Because you've got this bomb squad, and Ruben Amorim, backed by the board, has taken quite a tough stance with them. The only one who's actually left to this point, and we're less than a week away from the window closing, is Marcus Rashford. And he's only gone on loan. Yes, we expect Alejandro Garnacho to end up at Chelsea, but the two clubs still some way apart in terms of valuation. I think Anthony, if he goes back to Betis, that will only be a loan deal initially. And there's a little bit of a stumbling block when it comes to Rasmus Højlund and Napoli, in that Manchester United want a loan with an obligation, so a guaranteed sale at the end of the season. I think Napoli would prefer an option at this stage.
Rashford, did he not get hauled off at half-time at the weekend?
Yeah, I think he did. I've got to say, I've not tracked his progress at Barcelona too closely, but I think you're right about that. My son's a big Marcus Rashford fan, so he keeps me updated on his every move.
How do you feel about that, Crookie? Your son being a Marcus Rashford fan?
Well, it was during COVID, and obviously he did a lot of good work off the pitch, you know, with the free school meals. Unfortunately, he's lost his way since then, and I hope that he can find it again in Barcelona. He's got a massive opportunity, and there's still an outside chance he makes a play for Thomas Tuchel's World Cup squad, isn't there? I'd be surprised if he's in the squad when it's announced on Friday, but never say never.
Trouble at West Ham last night with Jared Bowen. What are West Ham going to do, Alex?
Well, they've got bids in for about 16 midfielders. I think Sangare at Nottingham Forest, the latest one they're trying to get on loan. They do need legs in midfield, don't they? It's a big problem with the squad, in my opinion. I mean, there's many problems. They've not got enough pace, I don't think, now that Mohamed Kudus has gone either. But I don't really understand why a West Ham fan would turn on Jarrod Bowen. He's been just about the only shining light since the start of last season. I said it to you guys on breakfast when Ali was in last week. If I was Jarrod Bowen in a World Cup year, having been left out of Thomas Tuchel's last squad, I would be contemplating my future, because I think if he stays at West Ham and they continue to struggle, I think his place on that plane would be vulnerable.
What about Crookie Spurs? Missed out on Eze. They obviously need a number 10. Any idea who they're going to get in?
Well, one of the stories in my notebook yesterday was about Tottenham being interested in Lucas Paquetá. Obviously, they've already signed Mohamed Kudus from West Ham. I think Graham Potter would be loath to lose Paquetá, but the impression I get is that if someone is willing to pay around £60 million, then West Ham maybe, in order to help bring new players in, would be willing to accept that. Obviously, it was controversial selling Kudus to Spurs, so I think it'd be difficult for David Sullivan to sanction another West Ham player making that controversial move. There has been some chatter this morning they're contemplating a move for Antoine Semenyo. I can tell you that's been laughed off by my sources at Bournemouth. He's just signed a big new contract, and Daniel Levy's just not going to pay that kind of money, is he?
No. Alex, nice one. Thank you.
Thank you, Crookie.
Alex Crook there, bringing us right up to speed. Don't forget, next Monday, 1st of September. Yeah, can you believe it? The 1st of September on Monday. The transfer window slams shut at 7 p.m. Live into a special deadline day drive show. So that's at 7 o'clock, 1st of September. Followed by deadline day special with our chief football correspondent, Alex Crook. Former Liverpool midfielder Danny Murphy. You won't miss a thing with us.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.